Hey everyone, welcome to Team Nailed It. Team Nailed It's team meeting tonight. We are so super excited. We have an awesome guest speaker. It is one of my good friends, Katie Harbison, and she was the top earner in March in the company, so that is amazing. She also just got into the presidential circle, so she's loving that extra bonus check. And I can't remember what rank you are now. Are you
national?
Yeah. National? Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure. Yeah, so she's one of the 5 nationals with me, and so pretty amazing. She has an amazing team. So today I asked her to speak to us on perseverance, which is super important in any business, honestly. So I'm just going to turn the time over to you, Katie, to take it away.
Sure. So first of all, I'm super honored to be here. Kelly is a remarkable peer in the business, and it is such a pleasure to work with her. And, we have been able to formulate such a positive and uplifting collaboration with each other. And I just want to reiterate quickly to you all what a value that is to your business, to find your people. And it doesn't always mean that it's not, Kelly and I don't make a dime off of one another, but we've been able to work well together, knowing that my success doesn't take from hers and her success doesn't take from mine. And so that's just one thing I want to put out there into the stylist universe right now. That is just such a pleasure and a joy to be here with you all, and it truly is an honor. So there's so many things I could talk about, but perseverance is just so important right now. And I want to go over a couple reasons why I think that's a really valuable topic to address tonight. I'll start by telling you a story. So when I first started, when you're brand new and you're still learning the business, it's so hard to get that first stylist to jump on board with you, right? Because you don't have anything to show them in terms of, hey, I'm a great leader and here's why. You're just like, just trust me. We can all sell nail polish and hang out and it'll be fun. And they don't really know you on that level. And so, my first stylist was an incredible woman named Brittany. And Brittany came to me, and I could tell that she had a lot of self-doubt. She was super reserved. She was just very unsure of herself and how, and I can say that because she's become one of my very closest friends. And she just, every time she would even sell something, she was like so shocked that she was able to accomplish such a thing. And the point of the story is it took Brittany about 5 months to reach her first promotion to senior stylist. And we celebrated the mess out of that promotion because it was so deserved and so warranted, and she had busted it for that promotion. And meanwhile, there were new leaders coming into the team that were like sprinting right to the top, right? I mean, they just couldn't be touched. And Brittany, I was like, teasing her the other day because we're so close now. I was like, it was a classic tortoise in the hare. And she just kept keeping on. And we worked really closely in tandem with one another to reach her goals, which weren't my goals, because in leadership, we're all about serving those in our teams. And so, now today, Brittany has officially reached for the month her first promotion to senior executive. And next month, you guys, she promoted in October to her very first promotion of senior stylist. And now she's a senior executive earning the presidential circle next month. And the reason I tell you that is because Brittany did not come into this business with a silver spoon for business. I mean, she didn't have a team before. She was very unsure of herself, like I told you. And, she just really committed to her business. And the reason I tell you her story is not to brag on Brittany, although I think she's a wonderful stylist. It's to say that you're all doing whatever it is you're doing in your own time. And I know, and Kelly knows, how easy it is to look to the side, look to the left, look to the right, and see what everybody else is doing. And it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. If you're looking to the left and the right, have it be to learn something from those incredible peers that you're surrounded by. But comparison truly is the thief of joy. It truly is. And you are all on your own path in your own time. And when somebody comes in to the business and they sprint right to executive, or they double promote or triple promote, it can be overwhelming and it can be frustrating. And, I have people all the time say, but so-and-so did this and so-and-so did that. And I just want to remind you that, you are your own business. You are your own brand. And Kelly talks a lot about branding. And so I can kind of touch on the fact that you are the brand. Color Street is your product. You happen to sell Color Street, but you're an incredible business person who is branded independently from their product. And the reason I tell you that is, in business, we're our own drivers. Okay. So we control the course of our destiny. And I know it sounds super corny, but follow me here. Like, it can be a rusty old pickup truck or a Maserati, but you're the driver. You have to get there. And it's your job to navigate the course. And when we are looking to the left and the right, we get sidetracked and we get overwhelmed and we get frustrated, and it does nobody any good. So whether you're driving, it doesn't matter what you're driving. It matters that you learn to drive. If you don't know how to drive it, it doesn't matter what car's sitting in your front yard, right? So that's my really corny analogy for the night. But the point is, you are all on your own course. And if you stay true to that course, it's going to be a lot quicker to your destination, right? So that's just like my basic spiel about what it's like to come into a company. And I heard Kelly speak on a training one time and I know that you all were probably there and have watched, when she talked about the importance of starting sloppy. And I love that. And I tell my girls that all the time. I'm like, remember when Kelly said to start sloppy? Because it's so true. How many times do we get in our heads and make this mental list of all the things that we should be doing in our businesses? And we have 50 balls that we're juggling in the air. And so we never start anything. We never start anything because we want it all to be perfect and we want it all to be, absolutely organized into a T. And that's just not real life. And it's definitely not real life in business, especially not when you work for yourself. And the fact of the matter is that when we work for ourselves, we put an even bigger pressure on ourselves to be perfect, because nobody is going to step in and, fix it for us. This is our label. We're putting our name on something and we want it to look good, right? But I have learned over the past couple of months that doing something that really scares you and stepping outside of your comfort zone into, like I recently started writing a blog about business. Freaking terrifying. Absolutely terrifying, you guys. Like, I was sitting here going, I have this massive inadequacy complex. Like, why does anybody want to read what I have to say? Why would anybody care what my opinion is about business, and yada, yada, yada. And so my first blog post started with, I always thought I would be a writer, but that was the problem. I was just thinking about it. I wasn't doing it. And it's the same in our businesses, right? It's like, I always wanted to grow a team. I just thought about it a lot. We have to start somewhere. So I hope that that's a little bit helpful and encouraging to you, that, and I share about Brittany because I know, she started with a lack of self-confidence. And here's the other thing I want to remind you really briefly before I pass it back to Kelly, is that sometimes when people come into this business and they sprint to the top, we don't always have the whole story. Some of these people that come in and they're, people, this is the big thing, is my girls are like, I see them adding 20 people to the team page and I just can't get one person to email me back. I have to sometimes remind them that sometimes these women or men come from other companies where they've worked for years to develop a following. It didn't happen overnight for them. Like, it literally gives me the chills because they didn't just get lucky and morph into this team size that's massive. Generally speaking, they worked for years to develop a following in their own personal brands. And so when you look to left and right and you see that happening, remember, there's more to the story, almost always. There's almost always more to the story. And when that happens, just remember that you're working really hard to build your brand and your story so that one day you will be in an established position that you can sprint to. But I promise you that they all started by walking, and they fell a ton of times. Like, Kelly, how many times have you fallen? Like, I'm always like, you don't want to know the whole story because it's not glitz and glamour. You know, it was slow and steady, and lots of self-doubt, lots of failures. But every time I chose to start sloppy and try something that scared me, I learned something from it. I either learned that I was really good at it. I learned that I was really bad at it. I learned that it wasn't for me. I didn't care for it. You know, it just wasn't something that I was passionate about or brought me joy or was like a desire of my heart. But I learned, and you're only going to learn by doing and trying and failing sometimes. So I just want to encourage you. Yeah, failing sometimes.
Fail forward.
Yeah, just fail forward. And I want to encourage you all to, you know, put some affirmations on your mirrors this week. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. My team does that sometimes. We'll do like an affirmation exercise. And what I mean by that is literally get like a dry erase marker and write an affirmation on your mirror. And also write a goal for yourself, a small goal. Not, I want to be a national executive in 3 days. A goal, a small goal in your business. And it doesn't need to be rank-based or sponsor-based or sales-based. Just something that you've wanted to do that you believed would better your business and you had a hard time getting started. Okay, so I hope that those things will help you. I keep Post-it notes and I do my magic markers, and I just try to remind myself that I'm one person, that I'm not perfect, and that my story doesn't have to look like everyone else's. So please feel free to ask questions. I don't know what kind of time we have, and I don't want to keep you all night, but again, it's such a pleasure to spend time with another team, and thank you for welcoming me with open arms, and I just can't wait to see what we're able to accomplish in our future collaborations together.
Thank you so much. And I have to agree, like, I know, so I used to be a photographer, and I remember times being like, oh, I want to take pictures like her. And so I would try to be like this girl, and like my work would start to look like her, and my editing would start to look like her. And then it'd be like, oh, what about this girl? She does it this way. And I want to, you know, and I would like try to be like her. And I remember sometimes I would look on people's blogs and be like, oh my gosh, they're so amazing. Like, why can't I photograph like this? And then I would feel like a punch in the gut, you know, like, like you compare yourself, and then just like, why can't I do this? And I do it so many times that it was like annoying, right? Like it like gets you down, right? Like you're saying, it's the thief of joy. And so I noticed that when my work started to become what I wanted it to was when I finally like put my head down and started comparing my work to my previous work. Yeah. So like, I would be like, hey, so like the session I did, you know, a month ago or 2 months ago, does that look like, am I improving? Am I getting better or getting closer to my goal? And like when I stopped looking sideways and stopped looking at everyone else's work and just started focusing on my work, and yes, you can look at other people for inspiration, like you were saying, but I noticed it was so interesting that when I started looking, just comparing myself to myself and, you know, putting my head down, just focusing on those goals, that's when I started to actually achieve them. Because it's so easy to get distracted, like you're saying with the driving analogy. Like if you're driving like this, it's hard to stay focused.
You're not going anywhere fast,
right?
Yeah, and you know, I told my team the other day because someone, you know, and it was very flattering and humbling, you know, to hear these congratulatory notes, like Kelly congratulated me on being a number one earner this month. And, I have to tell you guys, it is just completely surreal because at this point, I don't feel like I've done anything incredibly profound. And I know that sounds crazy, but I was just chipping away at small goals along and along. And it wasn't always like that for me. I mean, it just wasn't. And so I talked to my team the other day and I told them, because they're all like, I want your paycheck. I want your paycheck. I want to be paid what you get paid. And I said, remember to dress for the job you want. Remember to dress for the job you want. If you want to earn a full-time or more income, we have to work, we have to put in the work and the effort. And, if you were making like Kelly's paycheck, would you ever miss a staff meeting? Like, would you ever not show up to work? Would you ever not take a call from your boss? Would you ever just not show up? You wouldn't. You would be there every time because you knew that was, and so when we work for ourselves and we are the boss, we have to remember that it's more important than ever to always show up, to never miss a staff meeting. It doesn't mean we have to show up in like hair and makeup every day, but we have to be present and we have to, one of the number one things I tell my girls to buy when they join my team, if they ask me for my recommendations, is like a whiteboard calendar, because I'm very visual and I have to see like my tasks. And I definitely have like ADHD in me. So if I don't and that's like dead serious. And if I don't look at it and see it and map it out, then I won't show up. So that's another piece of advice I have. If you find yourself like in Kelly, who was it? I think it was Melanie or Julie, one of the other leaders had said, if you're just running around like a headless chicken all the time, it's going to be like you're in a kayak with one oar and you're just working, you're busting it, you're rowing, but you're just going in circles, right? And so that was something that I took away from her training that I thought was really applicable to what I was doing. Like, I always feel like I have, like I said, the 50 balls in the air. And my husband came home and he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just really busy. I don't know. I'm just really busy. And he was like, what are you really busy with? And I'm like, I don't know. I had nothing. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel really busy. I'm just overwhelmed. But that's something I put on myself. And so writing it out, mapping out your schedule, it's all good stuff.
And making sure those things are income producing activities, right? And they're not just like fluffy, or like chatting on Facebook. Like, no, is this making you money? Because that's
I know. I think it was Eric War who said, it was a quote about Facebook and it said, are you working on Facebook or are you spending time on Facebook? And I was like, oh, in the gut, because I'm totally just spending time on Facebook, And so I told my team tonight on a leadership training, get off Facebook to set your schedule. Let Facebook be the place that you execute the plan, but not the place that we try to go plan, because we're not going to do it. We're just going to look at cute puppies.
Or cat videos. I always tease about cat videos.
Whatever your bag is, but that was just something that I found to be helpful for me. And when he said that to me, like, what are you really that busy doing? I was like, I have no appropriate answer. I don't know.
Well, and I like what you're saying about dress for, basically act as if fake it till you make it. Like, we are all the CEO of $1 million business. Like, each of us is a CEO of a potentially $1 million business. So we have to act as the CEO, and set work hours and show up every day and like do those income producing activities and, persevere. It's really like, I would say the number one, I've run lots of different businesses, photography businesses, mentoring, and I've done direct sales in another company. And I've noticed a pattern, and probably the number one tip for success is consistency. It's just like those little baby steps every day, because it's all about momentum. It's like riding a bike. Like when you're riding a bike, if you don't keep pedaling, like what happens? Like you fall off and you lose momentum, and then you have to get back on and start all over. But if you're like pedaling every day, like it's going to get faster and faster, and it's going to be, and then you'll be like, this is fun. Like I'm having so much fun.
Hands free now.
Yeah. Hands free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely something that I'm learning along the way, is to be consistent and set a true schedule. And if you guys want to know, I'll tell you, I do the same thing every week, like a creature of habit. And I have a Google Calendar, and I do have an assistant now who helps me online. And everything is synced. And so I have a Google Calendar that literally, like, I have to live by this calendar, or if it's not in there, it's like not real life. So I live by this calendar, and on every Tuesday evening, I lead an opportunity call. It's a Zoom recorded, it's a Zoom link. It's the same link every single week. And my entire team knows that they can hop on, or they can invite their potential teammates to the call. Every single Tuesday, 8:30 p.m., that's where you'll find me. Every single Wednesday, 8 p.m., I lead a leadership call for my team leaders and above. Every single Friday at 10 a.m., I lead a call for all of my directly sponsored people. And every single Friday at 1 p.m., I do what I call General Assembly, which is my team training for the entire team. And I know that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but it's we're mirroring, this kind of going into leadership too, like we're leading by example for what we found to be successful. If I get one new teammate a month from that consistency, to me, it was worth it. And I think Kelly would agree. It's just knowing where, your customers are the same way. If they know where they can find you the same time every week, they're going to start showing up. Mm-hmm. If you're just like, I'm over here, and now I'm over here, and now I'm there, it's going to be harder for them to keep track of you. So try to implement a couple of things that you do routinely every week. And I think that's really helped me personally. So.
Yeah. And I think starting putting it on the schedule, even if you're like, I don't even know what the heck I'm going to do, makes you show up, right? If you're like, okay, guys, I'm doing this at this time. Like if you guys are like, hey, I'm going to do an opportunity call at this time. And then you're like, okay, now I got to figure out what I'm going to say. Like that's where you start sloppy. And in fact, speaking of which, Katie and I are
the longest time.
Katie and I are actually holding a boot camp for our teams. We're doing a collaborative boot camp for you guys. We're really excited. It's called Escalate. And
Elevate.
What?
Elevate, isn't it? Elevate.
Oh, you're right. Elevate, escalate.
You're escalating into the elevation.
It's like an escalator versus an elevator.
It's fine. It'll be safe. It's fine.
Yeah. Either way. So we're doing that, and that will be starting next Monday. We're super stoked. But do we know what we're teaching you yet? No. That we're going to figure out in a couple of days. So, but we put it out there. We're going to make it happen, and it'll be hopefully fabulous for you guys. But that's just shows, like, if you put it on the calendar, it makes it real, and then you show up and you make it happen, right? You figure it out.
Like Kelly is like, this is what I do. This is when I do it. This is what I'm doing. And I'm like, Kelly, let's do a podcast, and let's do a live video, and let's write a book. And she's like, so overwhelmed. But I think this will be a super fun way for our teams to share what's working, because whatever it is you guys are doing, it's working. We're doing some things that are definitely working. And I just think Kelly and I have very different strengths. And that's why it's so fun to work together, because she'll say something and I'm like, I never would have thought of that. I never would have done that. I never would have done it that way. You're so weird, but it was like, I love it. I love that. It's so refreshing. And hang on, there was a question here. Wing it till you bring it. Yeah, okay.
I love that.
And sometimes you do feel like a headless chicken. That's part of working for yourself. But that
never goes away.
This team building challenge that we're going to do with you guys, we're holding it the third week of the month, which obviously is next week, so that you have time to really hone in on and participate and challenge your teams as well if you're growing a team, because the last week of the month is mass chaos for everybody. I don't care how organized you are. It's headless chicken times 1,000. So
right.
We're trying to be respectful of that for one another and you all, so we can serve you the best during the last weeks of the month. But we're hoping this will bring a lot more opportunities for growth and collaboration. And, it's just fun to be together sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And I think systems, like you were saying, I think creating systems, like this is what I do on these days helps so much. Like, and just start one system and then you can add another one and then you can add another one and then you can kind of tweak them too. I mean, like I have systems for incentives and systems for, Facebook parties or whatever, but it's like, then if I get a better idea, which is so fun to learn from all of you, it's like, we tweak it, we make it better, and then you've got these systems so you don't have to think like, what the heck am I supposed to do today with my time,
This business is about relationships. So continue to build those relationships and foster relationships. And remember that, one of my best advice for sales is letting your customers know who you are. They want to know you. They want to know who they're supporting. And one of the best ways to do that is to go live. And I know that's really scary for a lot of people, but I tell my team sometimes it's like you're an actor, like of sorts, because some of my girls are like, well, I'm really private and, I don't want to talk about my family and all that. That's fine. They just want to know you on some level. They want to know who they're supporting. And when they get to know you like that, your customers are going to be like, I'm never leaving Kelly. That's my nail girl. Like, that's my girl. Like, that's the one I go to. She is my nail girl, and your customers will become bizarrely loyal to you when you let them know your why, your reason for working for yourself, your goals, and let them celebrate with you. And that takes me back to my story about Brittany. When you set a goal and you reach that goal is to be celebrated. I don't care if it was, in your mind, it was very small or minuscule, or if it was, super, super large and noticeable. If you set a goal and you reach it, that's to be celebrated, and you deserve to pat yourself on the back for that.
Yeah. Melissa was even telling us at leadership retreat, she was like, guys, like sometimes we work so hard and we're like, okay, I made senior stylist. All right, next, now it's team leader. We don't even take like 5 seconds to like celebrate our accomplishments, because we're like, we got to get to the next. And we got, it's like, at what point do we celebrate? So yeah, I agree.
I told them, I told some of my closest friends in the business last week, and it was like really humbling for me to say it out loud, that I'm just always my own worst critic. I always think, yeah, I could do better. Like, yeah, it wasn't that great, or yeah, it was fine, but whatever. And like with like going along the lines of congratulating, the success that our team has accomplished, I was like, almost like embarrassed. Like, I don't want to talk about, oh gosh, because here I am thinking, it was just okay. Like, okay, we did it and it was great. And my husband was like, what is going to be good enough for you? You know what I mean? Like, when are you going to realize like what you've been able to accomplish? And I'm like, and that's when I had this big epiphany. Like, I'm preaching to my team that they're amazing and they're celebrating. And so, there are people in this company making $500,000 or more in a year. And this is year one. So just imagine what's possible here. We're so fortunate to have a product and a company that, with that type of potential, with that type of earning potential. And I love how CJ says it. She'll say like, my paycheck with sales was this, but because I choose leadership, it was this. And I really like when she says that, because we forget that what we're doing is really, it makes an impact, and we're our own biggest critics. So
yeah, I love that you said that, because I think we often just don't give ourselves credit. I've heard several of my, personally sponsored stylists be like, yeah, that was okay, but I really need to get to this level. And I'm like, no, but this is amazing. Like, look at what you've done. And that's where I think it's so good to compare, like, hey, where you compare yourself to yourself and you say, well, I recruited one person this month. So this month, this next month, I'm going to do 2, or I sold this much this month. So next month I'm going to sell 100 more. So like, and just like trying to compare yourself to yourself, but then give yourself some credit, because so many of you guys have done amazing things. And I just want you to see that. And, Candy just said, listening to personal development books has helped motivate me, especially when I start doubting myself. And amen. Right? Amen. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, Candy, because I kind of preach that to our team, and that's one of our 2 P's is personal development and positive vibes. And I decided after Katie and I were talking yesterday about her topic that I'm going to add a 3rd P, and that's going to be perseverance, because I think that's a huge part of it is, having a good attitude, being positive and persevering, because there's going to be some days where you're like, you know what, I'm done. And those are the days where you take a break or you go read some personal development or whatever. And then you just come back at it and keep going and keep working towards those goals. So
that's why these business friendships are so special, because it's, Kelly and I often say, no one would get it but you. No one would understand except for you. You're the only one that would get it. And it's true. You have to, you have to have a confidant when you're frustrated or when something isn't perfect or the way that you planned, but also somebody that genuinely celebrates your successes. Like when she sends me a message like, oh my gosh, look at that. Like, look at what you did this month or whatever. I know that she's like genuinely happy for me and that she genuinely like celebrated in that success with me. And, you can feel that, like you can feel people's intentions. And so, you guys encouraging one another, fostering that collaborative spirit amongst yourselves as a team, it's going to be invaluable to you, because this, like I said, this business is about relationships. And
yeah. I really want to encourage everyone listening to this to find an accountability partner. Like
yes.
find an accountability partner like I have with Katie, that you can, chat with when you're having a bad day or when you've got a situation where like, I don't know what to do about this customer or whatever, and you can get ideas. And it's just, I think it helps so much. I had this with my other direct selling company. They call them success partners, and that helps so much. And it's kind of like dating. Like you might, like sometimes you have to go through a couple to find the one. Katie's my person.
Super awkward. No, it's fine.
But like finding, and of course, like, and I learned so much from all of you. So, but if you can find like an accountability partner or success partner to work with. In fact, I'll do a post about this. So if you're looking for one,
match up, like speed dating.
I'll be your match. That's like on my bucket list. I always want to like match someone up. I want to be a matchmaker. So I'm going to be a matchmaker and match you all up. But it really does help so much. It helps with perseverance because you have that one person to go to for any troubles or any good days or whatever. It's just so nice.
And when it's a like Color Street sister or brother, meaning like it's not somebody that makes money on you and not somebody that you make money on, it really is a unique experience. And within your teams, you have so many options for that. Within your team Nailed It, you have tons of options for doing that. And the reason I say that is because when you go to your sponsor about something, sometimes you're like, oh, well, of course you said that because, you had to say that, you're responsible.
Right. It's like your mom. Like my kids say, take off your mom goggles. You have to say that, Mom.
Of course you said I'm beautiful, Mom.
And I'm like, I mean it.
But when I go to Kelly about something, I know that she can set me straight and say, she's not going to like blow rainbows at my butt. Like she's going to say, no, don't be dumb. Like this is, or she's going to keep me in line. And that's what I need. And I think that we have that mutual respect. And like I said, within your team umbrella alone, there are countless opportunities for that. And, it's just such a wonderful way to challenge one another. I feel like Kelly and I have a really healthy competitive spirit. But in the end of the day, like it's to really celebrate what we've done here, and you're all a humongous part of that. You should be super proud of yourselves.
Yeah, like empowered women empower women, right? So that's what we want to encourage for everyone on our teams. So we are running out of time. I appreciate you so much, Katie, for sharing this. I hope this helped all of you guys. Erin is asking if you'll show them your wooden stand again.
Oh, sure. Let me walk you.
That wasn't on the recording, so.
I have 2 minutes, so I'll walk you over here. Okay.
Just a little office tour.
Okay. Woo. Okay, so it's got little grooves on the side, if you can see there. And then, sorry, I'm on my laptop, so it's hard for me to show you. But there's a box here that opens up. if you can tell. It's kind of groovy. It's kind of dark back there. Sorry. I live in like a really, really, really old like house in Virginia, and it's creaky and all wooden and all that stuff. So it's a huge work in progress here, but it's been a lot of fun. So
very cool. Very cool. Thanks for showing us that.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right, cool. Well, this was an awesome meeting. I hope you guys all feel really encouraged, and I hope that you will go and find an accountability partner and just continue doing your thing. I have to say that sometimes to my girls, like, just keep doing your thing. You're doing it. You're doing it, you know, like stay on the bike.
Sometimes if I had like $1 for every time I said, you're doing it, you're really doing it, you know, I'm like a proud mom, you know, but it's so true. And we really hope that you'll tune in for the team building challenge that we're doing, because
elevate.
Yeah.
Not escalate.
Elevate by escalating.
Yep. All right. Thanks everyone. And thank you so much, Katie. That was super helpful.
See you soon, girlfriend.
Have a good night. Bye. Bye, guys.